Good design stems from great ideas and great planning. You have to be inspired in some way, shape, or form in order to create the best product, whatever that may be. So early on when I was learning graphic design, the main part I was taught is to always, before you even get your pens and your papers out and you start painting anything, sketch a little bit and get influenced by the trends that's going on and have gone on in the past. Knowing the art history and things like that have helped me create dope works. And that's studying lighting, studying shadows, studying great photography. I know great composition and how to use my colors and things like that. So a lot of that is going to take me to my main point of today. And the main point of today is the importance of research and understanding client briefs. Because as a designer or as a creator in general, knowing how to take somebody's ideas and bring them to life is like literally the lifeline of your business, and has gotten me very, very far. Being able to not only understand a client brief, but also understanding sometimes what a client may need and being able to offer something in return. That's where you create this skill. You're able to barter better because you don't only have just yourself to bring to the table. You're bringing in a skill set, which could be like design, photography, videography, motion design, whatever it may be. You have to be bringing something to the table in order to barter for anything. Back to my point of the importance of researching and understanding your client briefs. Research is a critical part of concept development. It ensures your designs are relevant and aligned with your client's vision. Research involves, number one, understanding what genre that your client is in. So different music genres have distinct visual styles most of the time. And studying existing cover art in that genre to understand the common themes and aesthetics of whatever genre that you're creating for. Hip hop looks different from rock. Rock looks different from R&B. R&B looks different from jazz, thus forth and thus forth. Number two is going to be understanding your client's brand. Getting yourself familiar with your artist's previous work, their branding, and their specific audience. This helps ensure your design aligns with their identity and the world that they're trying to create with their music. And for me, number three is always what's happening now. Staying up to date on design trends in the music industry. This can help inspire fresh ideas. It depends on what kind of style you're going for and everything, but you don't want to create covers that look like 2000s when it's 2024, unless that's the style and aesthetic you're going for, something similar to like pen and pixel or something from way back in art history, if that's what you're going for. You always kind of want to stay what's going on in the general trend. If the general trend right now is photography-based designs, how can you elevate and expand on that? If right now it's pop art is the trend, how can you expand and elevate with that? After you kind of understand your client's brief, you've done a little research, figuring out what kind of theme, what kind of style that you're going for whatever cover art that you're trying to discuss. The next key is going to be brainstorming and idea generation. So I want to show you a few techniques on how you can help ideate better and brainstorm to get those molecules moving to create a dope project. Brainstorming is very crucial to the creative process. I want to just emphasize that even more. It helps you generate a variety of different ideas and explore different directions that you can create this cover art for. Now, here are some effective techniques that I use and I would recommend that you use when you're creating any type of idea. Like any idea that comes to you, it all starts with doing your research, making a plan, and executing the plan. That's with anything. If you want to go make a sandwich, the first image is the sandwich in your mind. You go get your ingredients from the store. You take the ingredients, make it in the kitchen, and then you are enjoying your sandwich. But you can't just think of a sandwich and then it's in your hand unless you're using the Uber app. This is not a sponsored post. But anyways, here we go. Here are some effective techniques for good brainstorming and idea generation. The first thing I want to mention is mind mapping. Mind mapping is something I recently have gotten to. If you go on YouTube, it's a lot of like YouTube videos about people mind mapping. Mind mapping has helped me create not only this course and this program, but a lot of my ideas as far as fashion, clothing, music video, treatments, everything. Mind mapping starts with a central concept and it branches out into related ideas. This visual method helps you see connections and develop a comprehensive view of your theme. The second is going to be word association. So I want you to write down words related to the album's theme, genre, and the mood. This can spark visual ideas and help you think outside of the box. So third is going to be thumbnail sketching. This is quickly sketching small, rough versions of your idea. This helps you explore composition and the layout without committing too much time to the details, like where the light is going to hit, where the shadow is going to hit. You're kind of just placing objects seamlessly in a space. When you get into the program, you kind of have an idea what you want and you're not wasting too much time. And then fourth and final is going to be mood boards, collecting images, colors, and typography that will resonate with the album's theme and the genre specifically and the mood that the album is going to be in. That's why they call it a mood board. This can include anything from photographs to artwork and different design elements. Based on the 7 concepts I gave you guys for the importance of research and understanding client briefs, as well as brainstorming and idea generation, I want to go ahead and create a mind map / mood board for a hypothetical album, just to give you guys an idea of how you take the client brief and then go ahead and create something to present to the client before you even get into Photoshop. Because that's what's going to happen a lot of the times. They kind of want to see a sketch. They want to see an outline. Where are you going with this? They really just won't trust you to just create something after they give you their money. Depends what kind of artist it is, but for the most part, they want to see something before, especially when you get into a couple of hundreds of dollars and a few thousands. When it's a couple of like $60 colors, they probably don't care too much. And I wouldn't spend that much time either, but just for yourself and for practice, I would just continue to use these on a regular basis just so you can get better coming up with ideas and concepts, so you won't need an idea generator so much or things like that. You'll just kind of have a Rolodex of ideas that you've seen within the internet and on your day-to-day basis. You can figure out how to get inspired just by going outside for a walk. Suppose the album's theme is rebirth. So that's the theme of the album. The album is rebirth, something similar to like Lil Wayne, the rebirth. We're going to start with that central concept, and then we're going to break out into related ideas such as nature, growth, transformation, and renewal. All these are like synonyms to the word rebirth, which is the theme of this particular hypothetical album. Let's get into it. Let's start with understanding the genre. And for this genre, we're going to be creating a lot of hip hop cover art. Obviously, it's going to be hip hop related. Let's look at some concepts related to hip hop and rebirth. So first things first, we already have our word association that we already did. Words like rebirth, growth, transformation, renewal. That's kind of like word association that I already explained. These are going to help us create the mood board that we're going with. And then lastly, we'll get into the sketching will be like the last part. Let's collect some images, some colors, and let's look for some typography for our rebirth hip hop album. As you can see here, I have a Google Slides presentation up. Everything doesn't have to be so complicated, but you want something that you can refer back to when you're making your treatments and sending your pitches back to whatever client it is, where you got your inspiration and things like that. This is kind of what you're going to send off. You want to use slides. You can use docs too. I just think when you use Google Docs, it's harder to move images and put the wording where you need it to place. It's just easier to use slides. So you just go file here, download the PDF, and then you can end up sending this to your client. Use whatever works for you. The first thing we need to do is we need to go see what's even out there. Let's go see what some of the current trends are for hip hop albums at this point in time. I always just go straight to Pinterest and I always type in cover art. You can go hip hop cover art, rap cover art, but I'm just putting in cover art just to see what is even coming up. What is the themes right now? And as you can see, they got a bunch of different stuff that comes up, and I would just look through these, get inspired, see the different types of covers that they have. Maybe if I get specific, this doesn't really speak to rebirth or anything like that, but that could be cool. This looks pretty fire too. I like the color scheme. When you're looking through here, you're looking for color schemes. You're looking for composition. This is pretty cool. A lot of the covers have been giving me like this kind of feeling. Collage, floating heads type of vibe. This is cool. Yeah, a lot of them have been giving me like these movie-esque looking covers. That seems to be a general theme right now. Now, when you look at this stuff, it all depends on what kind of cover that you're going for. Am I going collage-y? Do I want it to be more realistic? Do I want it to be like 3 or 4 ways that you can achieve the same thing? Just like when you're using tools, there's different ways to achieve whatever cover art you want. Like this is pretty hot. I like this because when I think of the word rebirth, I think of like Rise of the Phoenix, Adobe Color website. We'll get into this a little bit more when we start talking about like color and mood. But in general, if I were to start looking up stuff, I'll type in the word rebirth here at the top, see what colors come up. Now, rebirth, are we going happy? They have different popular searches here, but I just typed in the word rebirth and see what even comes up for the word rebirth. Rebirth is giving like a lot of blues, which I thought already. This looks like it's a revival. It's being born again. So it could possibly be a blue color scheme. Rising of the Phoenix. It could be like an orange, red, nature, growth, transforming. It could be, we can go into the green. A lot of reds is coming up. Reds and oranges, browns. And then maybe if they were like to send me a song or something, I can be like, oh, this song gives me this feeling or this type of mood because they went through a traumatic time and now they're reborn. Or they could have been having a great time, but they want to kind of pivot and go in a different direction. It doesn't always have to be negative per se. It just depends on what you want to do. This looks pretty cool. A rebirth, a child into a man into a child, or a child into a man. That's kind of fire. Maybe use it like that somehow, some way. Like how you merge young you to new you. I like how they did that. I don't know. I keep seeing like these red, orange, yellow, blues. It has some blue, so I might be able to go with like a blue background or a blue space. And then whatever I'm using could be the person or anything. I could be like, oh, I could use yellow text, red text, something like that. So like these are my colors I'm going for. This kind of will be my look that I'm going for. Let's say this one too. Put on the color palette. Got a few color palettes going. All right, so that's pretty much it for the colors. There's only going to be 2 sets of colors that you got to already kind of know what you want to go in for too. I like this red color palette and I like this blue color palette to kind of work out of. Now, I'll use Pinterest for like themes. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. It can have Rising from the Phoenix and it can have a bunch of stuff going around it if I can get the right image to even present to the client. Like, oh, can you shoot your photo something like this? So I can have something to work out of, different types of themes and styles. But we looked at hip hop music cover art, seeing what the trends are, what we could possibly do. Let's type in that word rebirth and see what comes up. And just the type of imagery that you get. This looks hard. This looks hard. And I would just copy this stuff and then you don't necessarily have to use it. It's just to give you a good composition, theme. I can kind of do something like this, something like that. I keep seeing this Phoenix keep popping up. You not only have rebirth, what was it? Renewal. Renewal for me, when I think of that, is just like, oh, paying bills. You gotta renew. Nothing really comes up for renewal. Maybe this window pane looks pretty dope. Maybe different elements I keep in my mind. I like when I see this word renewal is dipped. So it's like, it's a different thing. It used to be yellow, but now it's blue. And you seeing that process. These are all things I think about as I'm thinking of the cover art itself. Look up the word transformation. The hands with a butterfly, transforming to a caterpillar to a butterfly. Even this looks hard. I don't even know what this is. It's just screaming. And it's like the flower of life. But I like this look and this theme. Like it's a new me coming out of that. This is fire. I would just take all this stuff and then we just gonna throw it on the page right now. This is fire. This looks like AI though, not even gonna lie. This looks dope. That's kind of basic though, but I would still go ahead and throw that over there. Salvador Dali, knowing certain artists and being able to implement their style into your works is just as important as doing research. So how would I be able to create like the surrealist movement? If I want to be a surrealist type of designer, how would I embody that in my art? These are things that keeps coming up with the theme of transformation. I keep seeing a lot of clocks, but I like this sands of time type of thing. Throw this on there. So time keeps coming up with that word transformation. I keep seeing a lot of butterflies with transformation. is the artist, you know, street artist. They don't really want too many butterflies and caterpillars and animals on their stuff. You got to remember to go back and think about it. Type of artist that you're creating for. After I pretty much look up a few themes on Pinterest, I would probably go to a website like this, boom.com. Now, boom.com has a lot of art and like photos. I might search a theme and just see what comes up. I look at this. This is a dope piece of art in general. And it also looks like it speaks to renewing an old self. Even when you look at art, how you interpret it and how you're able to use that on your type of designs. For instance, if I doesn't necessarily even want to use it for this cover art, maybe I might save this and be like, I want to go shoot something like this for myself. Like, how would I shoot that? Shoot two of me. How would I create like that frosted glass idea into the image? I might just go ahead and take this and put that on the mood board as well. I just like the feeling that it gives me when I see this. This is pretty dope art in general. So like if I was a digital painter or a digital artist, or if I wanted to get a digital painter or a digital artist, how would I show them this and be like, I want to speak to this, but using this imagery and this theme? Like it goes that deep. Like you can make something like this, reach out to this person and be like, oh, I have a theme and an idea and a color scheme. Can you create something within that? If I come up here and I go to the search bar and I type in the word rebirth, see what kind of stuff even comes up for this word. Let's see, more paintings. And this is just to get you inspired. This is pretty dope. I like how it has like flowers. It looks like some sort of fractured things, but I like the color scheme of this. This is a dope way to use the color scheme. Maybe I can go ahead and take that and throw that into the color scheme tab. Now, I don't necessarily like the cover art, but I like how they use the colors. The head going into the body, becoming something new. That's fire. I like that. The illustrations come up. I typed in reborn. Whether it's exact or not exact, it doesn't matter. Once again, I can get a composition idea from this. When I look at this, I look at it and I see like, oh, how can I use that? Like, oh, it's coming through some sort of brick wall. It has the word portals at the top. It's like the old world and this is the new world. I might even grab this just so I can remember like, oh, I like the theme that it gave me when I looked at this. The last thing I'd probably do after I pretty much start getting like my photo illustrations up, I always go to Behance just to see what's out there, see what's going on. I feel like it's the best place to find current trends. Pretty much all designers, and if you get hired, you're pretty much getting hired off Behance. They might find you on Pinterest or they might find you on Instagram, but Behance is the place that they are going to hire people. As you can see, hire freelancers. People are getting picked up off of strictly just having a good Behance page. For me, my homepage is going to be a lot of sports content, but I might be able to see some inspiration. I like how this is kind of laid out. But we're talking about hip hop cover art. What we type in hip hop, the hip hop, and you don't. All right, hip hop cover art, and let's see all what comes up. This is tough, and it'll just give you the vibe that you can pull from. You might get inspired by the whole black with the red, with the white, the text. See what's coming out. This is pretty dope. I like how they used text. Just keep going over it. Look at different stuff. Let me see. This one has money boxes. It's giving a lot of GTA. That's so crazy. 4,000 people like this. Maybe because it's by a thing, but I don't know. For me, this looks really, really basic. But maybe it's because he drew it. Hey, man. Yeah, this looks basic too. This is for just more inspiration, textures. Like I like this texture. I might be want to use it, but then like old to new, like how would I use this? I like how he's using his collage and adding this nostalgic magazine-esque texture on it. I might want to use that. Styles. This is pretty cool. Remember, you can go ahead and upload your cover art to this too and go ahead and start grabbing eyes and attention. This looks fire. This kind of caught my eye. And then go and see what's even catching your eye. When you go see like, these are things that catch my eye. Maybe the color and the texture kind of grab my eye to this. How would I use that in the future? I like to use art of the title for any of my text and typography ideas. I like to use Behance. I like to use Pinterest. But if you use art of the title, these are people who won awards for the title sequences and stuff. It just shows you different ways to use the fonts, different ways to use text. I like to use this because all ideas come from some sort of film, movie ideas. For instance, I'll look at these texts. I'll look at the color scheme of the text. Look how things are kind of layered. And I probably might steal a couple of these. I like how the font choice that they used. I like how the big number is on top and the words are on a small. So I might be like, oh, I want mine to say rebirth and then something, the artist. Keep these things in mind too. These, I like how they use the red on top of the blue and the white text. I might be able to use some of that for mine. Keep all this in mind when you're creating. He got game. I like how he used the orange on top of the blues. If he knew his movie was going to be a blue-hued movie, it's cool to use the orange. You know, orange is basketball. You know what I'm saying? It comes back to the theme of the movie. You know what I'm saying? All these things make sense. The beekeeper, how they use the text on different backgrounds. Check out this website called monotype.com. It gives you a bunch of font pairings. I just typed, you can go in there and look up different types of font pairings, what fonts go best together. You can go and check pairs you liked, help, explore all players. You could change the font, get this font, resize fonts, see how fonts work together. Another one that I really use a lot when I'm thinking of any type of font choices for my covers are fontsinuse.com. This is a very underrated website. It just gives you a different bunch of fonts that's been used in the past on different ads and movie posters and how they used it. I really like that aspect of it. You can look through their different typefaces that they have. You can look through the different formats. They have books, album art, art illustration, advertising. If we just go basic, go to different album arts, see what's the most liked, the most viewed, if we worry about views, what fonts they use. She used Reputation. Taylor Swift on the Reputation album, she used these fonts. It'll give you exact breakdown of the fonts that they use, who made the font, where to get the font. If I see something like this, Dawn FM, I really like how they use the Dawn and the FM. Where could I find a font like that? They'll give you the name of the font. Even if I typed in a word like rebirth, let's just even see the type of fonts that even come up with that word. I kind of like this scheme, yellow, black, red, cool. And I might grab that and go ahead and bring that over. This looks futuristic. Will that really work for what I'm trying to do? It might, but green does kind of work in our, create another one where it's typography. Put the typography here. This kind of looks tough. I like the colors and everything. And it's a single color. The goats and things, they got the nature going on out there. I really like the text that they use on that. Make sure to keep and write the text down. This one is something that kind of works on its own. It has a lot of empty space. You got to keep that in mind when you're creating. Like if I want to do that, that'd be something that has a little bit more emptier space. This one kind of looks like what I want to go for because it has like this nuanced Renaissance-esque feel. I like this font. I might just go ahead and make sure I grab it, see what fonts they're using. I really like that text. I like how they use the red on there. And then you would just keep doing that for all the different types of styles that you would want. I'm not going to do it too deep because this was just a practice joint. But just being able to look through them and be like, oh, I could use this one, I could use that one. This kind of is going with the theme that I want. Say you do all that. Like I said, you looked at fonts, you looked at color schemes, woo woo. Let's just kind of organize this a little bit because right now it's looking kind of crazy. After you go ahead and like I said, find all your inspiration from your different channels, the Pinterest, the Behance, Boom, Art of Title, Fonts in Use, Instagram. Wherever you go and find your inspiration, go outside, go for a walk, you taking pictures, you're inspired. You might go for a walk at NYC, a graffiti piece kind of inspires you. But this is kind of like my general theme right now. We already used a few of the concepts that we've already talked about in the beginning, which is mind mapping. We've organized our thoughts into some sort of visible mind map to follow. It gets us in the world that we're trying to create. And then after that, we did the word association to kind of help us find some of this inspiration using words like rebirth, transform, renewal, growth to find inspiration for text, imagery, finding imagery from not only photos, but we find inspiration from art. We find inspiration from illustrations and also current and past trends. Now we've created our mood board, our mind map. Now you would take all this stuff. You would go and get your pens and your papers. We're going to pick up our mighty pen because now we're going to head into Photoshop and just start sketching a few different ideas. You don't have to sketch in Photoshop. You can also use pen and paper. I use a lot of these. If you watch my tutorials on YouTube, I use my notepad a lot with a lot of my ideas. I just find it easier for me. I like to actually touch something. But for this demonstration, I do want to use Photoshop. Now with this, what I'd be looking for when I'm creating my sketch would be not only color schemes, some sort of composition. Depending on what you're given to, sometimes you might be given a set of photographs, and some of these might be some of the poses that you have. You might be able to tell the person to shoot a certain thing, so then you'll be able to have that as well. Sometimes you might not be given anything and you have to create something from total scratch. All that might work. Depending on what I've been given, I might want to go for this sands of time type of theme, and that would be the composition that I go with, because they didn't give me anything. I have to go find something online and use it. They might give me a photograph so I can be able to embed the photograph in some sort of brick wall where it's like the sands are passing through time like that. They can give me a photograph that kind of similar looks like this, and they kind of be like, I don't want too much enhancement on my face and stuff. I kind of want to just keep it raw and theme. I might be able to use it and be a bigger person, and maybe they have a baby photo that they want to use, and I can use the baby photo in it. They might just give me a photo and they're like back to the world, me against the world type of thing, and I might be able to use it like this. I might be able to tell them to take a couple of photos and have a theme like that. They might just give me a couple of photos that they have on Instagram and be like, just pick one off Instagram and do something with it. And I might be able to end up with something like that. It's all about composition first. I might have, my color scheme. Now, the color scheme is not necessarily something that you would put into the sketch per se. You shouldn't be really worrying about colors when you're sketching. It really is all about placing things where you want them to be or in the general vicinity. And then that's when we start to get working on colors. But then you have this mood board / mind map to always refer back to, as far as a background for the color, what's going to be our base, what's going to be our main color that we're kind of working with, depending on what outfit or what color the outfit the person has on. And then lastly, it's going to come to text, because you're really pretty much only going to add text at the really end, unless it's a text-based cover, if that's something that they said they want to do, very, very minimal or something like that. Or if you're already a typography-based artist and a lot of your stuff is kind of based on the type itself. Translating concepts into rough sketches and drafts. Once you have these pool ideas we already discussed, it's going to be time to translate them into rough sketches. And before, this is when we're going to pick up our pen, our pad, and get to starting our ideas. Now, this step is all about experimenting with your composition and your layout. I already mentioned, that's the only focus here. Not worry about the colors, not worry about what font we're going to use and getting caught up in all that type of stuff. Remember, these thumbnail sketches are small and they're quick drawings, and they just capture the essence of your idea, not the idea totality. And they don't need to be detailed, and you can just focus on the overall composition and the flow. Is it balanced? Does it have symmetry? Does it need symmetry? Is it asymmetric? These are things that we go back to when we talk about that first class, when we start talking about the introduction to cover arts, what even makes a good cover art. Keep these things in mind. Does it follow the rule of thirds? Things like that. Now, these thumbnails are going to give you a visual reference and help decide which direction to pursue further. So I do want to hop into Photoshop for this section to just show you guys a few sketches based on what's given to me. I'm just going to base it on, they gave me a photo. Let me just use a photo in this case and then start writing a bunch of sketches on how I would want to pursue these. You'll see me looking up here because I'm looking at the mood board that we just created. But here we are in Photoshop. Like I said, I'm here ready to draw a beautiful sketch. Now, when you're doing these quick thumbnail sketches, I literally tell people, like, don't spend more than like 2 minutes on it. Like, you put 2 minutes on the clock, look at what you're trying to do and create a sketch from that. Because right now you want to be able to come up with at least 3 to 5 different sketches of ideas that you can make, and you might pull elements from each one at the end. You kind of already have a strong conviction of whatever you're trying to make, but you want to make 3 to 4 ideas and sketches from it. This one is called Rebirth. Based on the research and stuff that I saw a lot, I really like that sands of time. How would I use the sands of time and then use it with the face a little bit based on the ideas that we already have? I don't want to completely rip off using that face with the clouds in it that we already had. What would I do and how would I do it? You know what I'm saying? What elements? I like the idea of using the portal, which is the black or the bricks with the words on top. That's the first idea that kind of comes to me. I kind of like that one. Like, say we just have, I need a straight line, and then we'll just go like that. Go like that, go like that. and I'll just type the words in here like rebirth. That's where the title would be. Underneath here, I kind of would rip off that same thing. Maybe you would just do a representation, bricks. Maybe it might not be bricks. It might be a different type of portal type of thing, but just kind of roughly sketch some bricks here. Let's just say it's an opening to the portal of the brick, something like this. And I got bricks. Then I would change the color and I type something like bricks, just so I know what this represents. And I type this, I'd probably be like portal, can't spell, portal open. I like that font. I like the bricks. I like the portal. That's pretty much a complete ripoff of the illustration that we saw. How would I even take that a little bit further? Let's use blue. And then in the back here, they came from poverty. And let me put street corner in there somewhere. Building, a building. This is really ugly. This is how yours should be looking. Very ugly. Theme of poor. Streets. Broken. That would be where it's coming from. And then the new place is a place of rebirth. Now let me go ahead and change it to like an orange color. What is going to be on the outside? I want to be able to use it. He did give me an image to use. How would I use that image? Maybe I put some sand down here. Go ahead and fill that sand in slightly. Maybe drips of sand is coming from rebirth. You know what I'm saying? Drips of sand. Red again. Now I'll type in sand. Anything. It could be steel wall. It could be bricks. Anything. You got to think of all the types of stuff. It could be a piece of paper. Anything. You got to play around with the different textures and what's given to you. That's just kind of one theme. I kind of like that red to yellow with all of the stuff floating around. I like that. When we looked at it on the mood board, maybe I might head to take up most of the space, and then maybe let me do another head, and I could be baby head, grown head, maybe put a little body on there. Well, no, it wouldn't be a body on the baby head. And then maybe it'd be like that, and I'd be like blur. Maybe the background is really a gradient. So like I might go like that and be like, and then type in gradient background. I'm like, how about the words rebirth is here in the corner? I could be like script, something like that. Rebirth in a script type format. And this is kind of a chill one. Maybe I have some stuff floating around. What would I have floating? Let me look at some of my ideas. We got fire, maybe some sort of flames or something like that coming off of him. These are just ideas. These could be some sort of flames of some sort. It could be a red background with red flames and yellow text. You know what I'm saying? We're not even thinking about colors too hard. We're just thinking about like, how does it look? Like flames. I kind of like that blur idea that I seen when I looked up the colors, and then like have the two heads going from grown to the baby head. Maybe use it in some capacity like that. And then this one kind of be minimal. It's not too much going on with that. Most of the stuff would be going on here within this blur and this baby head. And then the flames would give you enough. And that kind of gives you a chill theme. Maybe we have some stuff floating, kind of similar to him. Throw some stuff in there and then just put an X because you don't know what it is. Like, we'll just say floating objects. Then you might ask the artist, what would you want floating around you? What are some things that are important to you? It could be documents. It could be money, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Just put those in a few different places. Maybe it might not even be too much. That's another quick sketch. You just getting your ideas out right now, bruh. Back to the drawing board. I kind of like that first one that we picked with the hot kind of idea. And I want to use photo manipulation. Then this idea is like photography based. This one is going to be photography based as well, but there's a little bit more levels to it. Then this one, I want to go kind of taking up the same composition that one had. I want to use those sands of time. Maybe I might grab those, draw another one. It's sitting in the dirt type of thing. Let me type in dirt, sand, landscape, hourglass. So in case you don't even know what it looks like, you can go back. And now let's put the face here on top, looking over everything. They gave you a photo to use. Type in person, the hourglass. It'll probably be photo manipulated in some way, shape, or form. Do one of these again. do a gradient. Let's go ahead and put some stars. Just put stars all over. It'd be some sort of gradient background, which would be some sort of sunset or sunrise into a star background with a person right there. And that's basically going off of the kind of themes that we already have. It'd be some sort of glow, obviously, right there. And then what would we do down here? This seems kind of empty. Let's go ahead and put the words will be here somewhere, shape or form. At the bottom, it will say rebirth. I don't know why I did that with the T. It will say rebirth in capital letters. And then you could put the logo with the parental advisory will go here. That kind of looks pretty cool. This doesn't have as many colors, but I kind of like this theme. And then you could probably put some square boxes here for stuff that's in the dirt. Remind yourself. Put old objects to remember to put a few old objects in the dirt, in the sand landscape in there. And I think that's pretty cool too, though. I'm not gonna lie. Let's kind of go over them. Like I said, you can go 3 or 4. It's up to you. The first one, go back to our original idea, which is the Phoenix, rising of the Phoenix. Now these can be bricks, steel, paper background that we already kind of sketched in there with the theme of the poor, the streets, the broken. That's going in the past. That's our past self, right? Going into this new stuff with sand dripping from the rebirth. Maybe it's a sand brick structure and the rebirth is being broken into, or it's on the other side of whatever you're trying to overcome. It all depends on what the rapper wants. Does the rapper want their face on it? Do the rapper not want their face on it? It's all up to you. So that idea kind of works. Idea number 2, this grown head with the baby head blurring into one another with the floating objects all around, rising from the phoenix, coming through the flames, having rebirth in the corner. That's another idea for the same concept. Now this concept is more photo manipulation based. It has an hourglass representing the time of the transformation. Maybe the sand glass is about to be empty. Like, let's put that in there. The sand glass is like on its last, and then I would take these and I would present these to the client and figure out what direction he or she is kind of going in towards first. And then you would just kind of use these same themes for each idea. Fonts can change. Some of the old objects that you're using will still work with another concept. You still might be able to use the sand bricks or the sand falling in some sort of way, shape, or form. After going over those, after selecting the most promising of all the thumbnails that we didn't sketch, we're going to create even more detailed, rough sketches of these. These is when you start adding color specifics, text specific kind of themes, specific items that you would want to use and find depending on what the artist tells you or what you get from the brief. If they tell you these are some of the motifs that represent the brand, then I would use those, but it's all up to you. Now, these drafts that we're making after you make your thumbnails, these drafts should refine the composition and include even more specific elements, what specific type we're using, like I just mentioned, and what is the key imagery. Maybe with these rough drafts, we might even start dropping in the image of the artist, maybe sketch on top of them. This will go here, this will go there, that type of thing. And then also we want to notice how the rough drafts, they're going to build on the initial idea, and how we're going to start to take shape and refine these designs even more. Out of all these designs, this one, the last one, oddly enough, that idea that spoke to me the most, out of all the ideas, I kind of want to piggyback off this rebirth one and start kind of refining into a more detailed sketch. I just explained to you guys how we would do that. Let's say this is the photo that the artist ended up giving us. He's like, yeah, this is a new me. I'm coming into a new season, blah, blah, blah. Now that necessarily doesn't even fall into the idea of the rebirth. I can't really have a big head in the background if this person is sitting in a chair, obviously. But nonetheless, this is what it is given. From there, we kind of take the idea that we want, turn this off a little bit, and we're going to sketch right on top of this. Let's just move this a little bit bigger, how we would have it. I would obviously probably cut this person out. I really don't want you spending any extra time on this. It's just a real rough. This would go up here somewhere. Based on the sketch, you would kind of see how you would be able to create that same thing. We still want the dirt, the landscapes, the rebirth. All that kind of still works. The stars even still work. It's this middle piece now that we have to kind of fix from this sketch. I'll go ahead and keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and start sketching now. from here. His seat would probably be on something. Still landscape. Some sort of mountains. I still want to be able to get that sand glass somehow. Maybe we go here, make a little arrow off of the chair, making sure the chair would be turned into a sand throne. We would still have the stars in the background. Put the stars in the background. Go here. We still have the gradient background when I put that up arrow. But now this space down here is looking pretty empty. Maybe we could start refining it, start to get into some colors. I know I want this to be red based on how I saw that text typography on the Parasite from the mood board. I think it said Parasite. That first idea that we saw on there, I really liked how the font was kind of placed. Maybe Rebirth will be down here at the bottom. We go ahead and type in Rebirth. Maybe the text will be here on the side, the name of the artist. Maybe if he had 2 names, it can be here too, both sides. If they had any other words and it's the Rebirth of blase blah, maybe we have those words on top and then put those there too in that other font that we found, and then rock with that. And then for the color scheme here, he's kind of rocking the yellow, pinks, and oranges. Maybe it would be a darker background, obviously. Maybe the sky can be like a blue, purple sunset. Maybe not so dark because he's already like dark as it is and his hair is black, so you kind of want it to be a little bit lighter to be able to go off of there. But how are we gonna be able to use the hourglass and still be able to use it? Maybe the hourglass goes in the behind him and he's sitting in front of the hourglass. It's like this, and I type in hourglass behind. So the hourglass is behind this person, and then maybe we still have some elements in the dirt, so we'll still have those elements in the dirt that we wanted. Maybe it's by his shoe, and that kind of is a little bit more detail based on the imagery that we've been provided. Hourglass behind him instead. Maybe it's a shadow coming off. We'll have obviously some sort of mountains, landscape objects, old objects of him that he probably gave up in order to create this new life for himself. We kind of have the theme and the color that we're going for based on the color of the image that was provided for him. This chair can easily be turned into some sort of other chair. And then, and then you have the Rebirth down here, and maybe the Rebirth will work best in red because of the blues and things that we have within already the shirt. Maybe we want to do opposite of those, which would be the red and the yellow. It might even be yellow depending on how we get there, but this is kind of the color scheme that we're going for now. And then this is what I say, like a more detailed sketch from the Evolve sketch. This was the first sketch that we did to send to the artist. The artist had their pictures and stuff. It was like, oh, I kind of like this one. After the artist sends us pictures, we'll kind of start sketching in what we're going to make from there. And then now it'd be go grab some of the elements and start making that. And we'll start working on that further down in the class. But this was pretty much supposed to just get you guys some good concepts. Just notice how the rough draft is built on the initial design and start to take shape as a more refined design. But yeah, guys, overall, I like how it's coming together. We're really getting to the thick of it now. We're going over, we kind of got the fundamentals. We know how to use the program. We know what good cover art is. We know how to come up with a good concept. We know how to come up with a good sketch. We're just going to keep moving forward with it. But now we're really getting into the thick of it. And I do have an assignment for this particular module. Check below. Make sure you're filling out your assignments as we go because you don't want to get left behind. And when it's time for Q&As, you guys can have something that you either ran into as a problem for this particular class, and then you'll be able to better help you if you're on board with what we're doing. The idea of the assignment is going to be creating 3 kinds of sketches similar to what I did based on the theme. And I want to see what everybody else comes up with. This assignment will help you practice turning your ideas into tangible designs, and it'll just help speed up and help you create better cover art quickly. Being able to concept into an idea in a fast-paced environment is what's going to set you apart from the next person. Having this flow and this system in mind when you're creating, you kind of know how to create, especially when you're just kind of starting. Ideas might be the hardest thing to come up with. After you kind of already get this, I normally don't even sketch this detail anymore. I might normally just even write a thumbnail sketch on my notepad or whatever, and then just start to create from there because I've done it so many times over the years. It's kind of second nature, but as you're getting started, I recommend this style and this way of creating on top of your ideas, because it just makes everything easier. You want that second nature, and it's in your subconscious. But yeah, that's really all for today's class. I'm not gonna overbear you guys. We did a lot last class. I just want to come in here and start getting the ideas, and where does the ideas come from? How do we start brainstorming? How do we create these mood boards? Then we can pitch to clients and pitch to brands and have some explanation behind our work. We don't just have ideas that we just pulled out the sky. You have a reference and somewhere to show them where you got your inspiration from as far as the whatever project is concerned. So that's all for this class. In our next class, we're going to explore more advanced photo manipulation techniques, so you know how to bring your ideas to life based on creating a concept and knowing the tools. I'm excited for that class. Until then, I'll see you guys next class. Happy creating.